out of the box or out of the wall, whatever we're going to call it, we have, oh, I got it, Saw 3D final chapter. Let's get those 3D glasses on. Whoa, bam. And I'll let you know what the 3D is like, what this movie is like. Even though this movie closed out the chapter, it's one of the shortest ones ever. Is it worth it, though? It's no. Chase Weehawken here with the Blue Futon reviewing Saw 3D. So what is it about? This is a final chapter in the Saw trilogy. We bring back Jigsaw's wife now. We have Detective Hoffman. We have the original doctor cutting his leg off from the first movie. And I won't lie, when I heard all this shit, I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be a freaking fantastic show. You have Chester Bennington from Linkin Park making a racist, character in this movie. Sean Patrick Flanery, who's also in Boondock Saints, so I like him as a whole. He also Nefarious. So I had high hopes when I first watched it, and when I watched it the first time, I did not like it whatsoever. Rewatching it now, it is by far the weakest in the 7 movies, bar none. One thing about the 3D, I want to say this has got to be made during Final Destination 4, the 3D one, because it felt like the same 3D effects. While the Lionsgate logo comes on the TV, you're like, this is some freaking awesome 3D. But when you continue on through the movie, they're like, okay, that's a fine 3D effect. That's a fine 3D effect. Yeah, that's some good pop-out dimensions here and there. But as a movie experience as a whole, it didn't feel like it was necessary. Yeah, it was kind of cool to see, like, arms fly at you, or guts fly at you, or intestines fly at you, or some blood. But the overall just felt a little cheap and unnecessary for 3D effects. I mean, like I said, though, when you watch these 3D movies on your own 3D TV, it just feels and looks a lot better. But is 3D really necessary for this one? No, but I had a pleasantly fun time with it. But it's still, I would say, mid to lower level 3D as a whole. But when talking about this movie, it needed to be longer. If you're trying to close out a chapter and you're on the 7th film, you got to give yourself more than 90 minutes. Give yourself, at least an hour 45, because at least the Saw 3 was a 2-hour movie, basically. So if this one you're like, we're going to close it out, but give it some of the shortest runtime ever, what the hell are you doing? Seriously, that makes no fucking sense. But when we talk about the positives, I do think the ending actually is the strongest, while showing off some traps that haven't been used since the first one. And it does close out nicely with some of these characters, especially the doctor character, Jigsaw's wife, Detective Hoffman. I do think like I said, the ending is the strongest, how we're concluding this whole 7-movie saga. But everything else in this movie feels so damn rushed, and I don't think it knew exactly what it was doing. You could tell the fumes were really dead on this one. How this opens up, the realism is like, how the fuck did this happen? If you're really drugging 3 people, getting them in the public, having saws everywhere, how are you doing this? There is no way this is getting done that simplistically. Like, it makes, you can maybe put it somewhere else and then roll it out. But come on now. The realism on this one, you can have some suspension of disbelief on some of them, but some of them, like the 6th one, you're like, I kind of believe that. The 5th one, I kind of believe that, so I do enjoy that. And I do like how they brought back a couple of the characters back from the older movies into the 7th one about the circle, because this whole story is about this guy faking he survived a jigsaw trap, but he never did. So this one's just about, lying. This one's all about lying with the final traps. But when it comes to that, and then Detective Hoffman's story, like I said, it just felt like it was bam, 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 bam. And a lot of these traps just felt like they were traps to, like, soft 3D gore, which the racist one, yeah, it has some cool 3D effects, but you're just like, let's play a game. We're playing a game because you're racists. Go. You're just like, okay, I understand that racists are bad people, but that's not a Jigsaw thing. When you look at the old Jigsaw traps, it is something very more sinister, something more fucked up, because it just felt forced. A lot of these traps felt forced, and it felt unnecessary, especially the beginning one. You're either going to cut yourself because she's a materialistic Kardashian, or you can just let her cut herself. Okay, bros, bromance, let her die. Like, the decisions are like, the Box movie with Cameron Diaz and James Marsden, where it's kind of the joke. It's like, if you push this button, you will get $1 million. But however, someone you do not know dies. It's like kind of the joke where it's like that's a 3-minute movie and it should be done. This is kind of the same way where it's like some of the dilemma points. You're just throwing it on the screen because you have this huge budget to make a 3D movie now. So you got that $20 million. So you're going to try to go bombastic with these deaths and with these kills. But as an overall movie experience, it is a horribly, horribly mismanaged movie. You could feel like I felt like this one they knew for a fact when they were filming this movie. They're like, we got to take a break because we're running out of steam, fumes, and we're just not having as much fun as we used to. So, if I remember correctly, this is the order now. Saw the final chapter is the worst. Then it goes Saw 4. Then it goes Saw 2. Then it goes Saw 6, Saw 5, Saw 3, then Saw 1. That is a weird order. I bet you some people are thinking, what the fuck, is he high? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But overall, saw the final chapter in 3D. I was highly disappointed with this overall experience back in the day and still today. So saw the final chapter 3D will receive a 1.5 out of 5 Futons, which equals at 30%. Let's see what the critics review scores gave this one. So you have a 9% with the critics, 82%. Audience score 41% with over 50,000. Here's critic consensus. Sloppily filmed, poorly acted, and illogically plotted. Saw 3D leaves viewers trapped in the most lackluster installment of the series. I have to agree, this was the weakest, hands down, bars none, and it's going to be hard for Jigsaw and or Spiral to get this bad. 39-41. Chase Lock here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more things, Futon, Toby. Futon's doing a great day. I can watch this today, tomorrow, week, month, how you found. I love every single one of you. And now, we are taking a break and going to just a different aspect of the Saw universe, Jigsaw.